Right, 23 August 2025, and today I'm joined by my usual guest on Sundays. Is it Sunday or Saturday? On Saturdays.
Saturday.
Traore. How are you doing?
And well, thank you, Mr. Gambakwe. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Fantastic. And I would like to thank you for consistently showing up. People look forward to talking to you and hearing your views on Saturdays. What have you been talking about this week? What is important this week?
It's obviously conference talk. The conference, which is fast approaching, those are issues that people are mostly talking about. And obviously, the journey of Vice President Chiwenga to India. And as usual, Mnangagwa is always moving from one country to the other, wasting taxpayers' money with no meaningful investment coming into the country. So these are the issues that we've been looking at. And people have been asking why there's been a bit of some silence in regard to General Chiwenga in dealing with Shigananda. And I told people that he's not someone who will even say much at this point, because the cards have changed. This time around, he's playing his cards close to his chest, moving chess pieces underground, and people will definitely be hit with the surprise one of the days. And everything is on course. Like what I always tell people, the Gaza revolution is very much alive.
Okay, so now that you've mentioned Mnangagwa, where is Mnangagwa? Why is he so quiet? The last time he spoke to us was 6th July. And we were expecting some movements during that time. What is happening currently?
Zimbabweans are not united. This is one of our greatest challenges. We only want to take action when something directly affects us. But when it comes to looking at the bigger picture of things and the reason why it's important to have a convergence and to do something from a collective point of view, we're very much selfish. And that is why you notice that when Mnangagwa told people we need to move A, B, C, D in such a way, people did not really take heed of the call. And this is one of the reasons why the whole process got delayed, because judging from what Mnangagwa was saying, obviously one person would think that maybe tomorrow or next week something big is bound to happen, but it's the people to blame. It's the people to blame. So things have shifted. We are past the stage whereby we would constantly see Mnangagwa coming in front of the screens, addressing people, because there's not really much to talk about. As far as corruption is concerned, it's more like continuing to talk about it without much action is like rubbing salt to a very big wound that the country is currently having. So it's all about action, and everything that is happening behind the scenes is building up towards that, so that at least Zimbabwe can be free.
Okay, so looking at the annual conference of ZANU-PF, is that where we're now expecting to see change? Is that where we're expecting Vice President Chiwenga to take over?
They are not going to give him the reins. Mnangagwa is definitely going to make sure that no limelight is ever going to be given to General Chiwenga at the ZANU-PF conference there in Manicaland, in Mutare Polytechnic. Why? If there is one thing that Mnangagwa is working towards, it's making sure that General Chiwenga is never close to being his successor, and that is why he's got options like Kudakwa Chitagwiri and many others. Garo was promised the vice presidency. Tungwarara is also eyeing for that same post. That is why he is strategically positioned at a place whereby his language and his activities mostly surrounded on investment. So obviously, with him focusing on development, chances of him becoming a vice president, considering it's of appointment, his chances are very, very close. So money has started circulating. People are being given money, provincial chairpersons, political commissars at provincial level, to mobilize in their respective provinces to make sure that they put up a show of trying to block General Chiwenga. And how are they going to do it? They are going to speak one mantra. The propaganda resolution of Mnangagwa pushing from extending his term from 2028 right through to 2030. You see, this is going to be the language which will be there, and obviously they are going to try to push and make sure they show a sign that Traore has been adopted into the Central Committee, of which there is much resistance. People have not warmed up to that initiative, that idea, and people are saying we need to follow the due procedure. There has to be a communication that is supposed to be sent and read by Comrade Christopher Mnangagwa to notify people on the latest developments in regard to the admission of Kudakwashi Traore, of which now the guy is not yet in the Central Committee, but still fake it till you make it. That's the strategy which these people are using. Masimire Mbwa, you'll hear him referring to Kudakwashi Traore as a Central Committee member. Tembwa Mliswa on the side also has been given money. Is a parallel structure also of the spokesperson of President Mnangagwa. That is why whenever it's an issue of checkmating, Christopher Mchangwa, you will see Tembwa Mliswa coming in as a parallel structure to speak, balancing what Patrick Shinamas has been saying and what is the script of Gananda and what Ganandas want to see happening within ZANU-PF. That is why we saw him appearing on HSTV, trying to push the agenda that Traore is a key figure in the politics of ZANU-PF. Traore is a key person in the development of the country, hence trying to put weight on him, trying to validate him as a leader. You see, trying to act as if General Chiwenga is being unconstitutional. He's trying to fight a personal issue by blocking Kudakwashi Traore, of which now we've got a constitution to deal with. You cannot see a person rising within that short space of time. He rises, he's co-opted into the provincial structures, and without much time again, you see people saying we want to see him in the Central Committee, and the next step that you're going to see, they will again try and push him so that he gets into the Politburo.
Okay, so I think let's summarize everything quickly. What is the agenda like? When is the conference? And what should we expect to happen up ahead of the actual annual conference? Is this a big deal, or is this just an administrative task?
It is a big deal. It is a big deal because, you know, it's these platforms that people are able to push their propaganda, that to show a sign that Traore and Gananda, they are the most people who are loved within the structures and the party of ZANU-PF, and also they are going to actually test to see how much they've advanced their agenda in trying to block General Chiwenga, and whatever that is going to happen there, be it resistance from the Chiwenga camp, will tell them whether to engage more gears or just to give them the assurance that whatever that they've been building has been successful. So obviously people have been put in place to try and put up a show. The whole point is to solidify that there are bogus resolution of Mnangagwa, as if this is something that is coming from the party structures, that everyone within ZANU-PF wants ED to extend his term to 2030. But just to show you something, under normal circumstances, I will show you how ZANU-PF operates. There's not been much meetings that have been happening at district level or rather at provincial level, whereby you will see everyone being invited to come and put up resolutions on whatever that they would anticipate to be incorporated or rather to be addressed by the party administration at presidium level, at the top level. None of that has happened. Why? The grassroots is actually resisting the coming in of Kudakwashi Traore. People are going through quite a lot, and electricity still remains much of a big challenge to the people. Electricity is going for more than 18 hours a day. And the campaign, 2023 campaign, one of the campaigning points was that making sure that making sure that the whole country is given a constant supply of electricity, something which they did not deliver. They promised to create employment, housing initiatives, of which none of that has come to pass. So there's much disgruntlement as far as party structures are concerned. People don't want the 2030 extension. People are hungry for another leader. Why? Because when Mugabe was removed from power, people thought things were hard, but they realized that when Mnangagwa came into power, the official exchange rate was 1:1, and the country is actually in a far much worse position. And during Mugabe's time, Mugabe managed to create quite a couple of millionaires, black millionaires. It was not only centralizing his the political development and economic influence within the Mazek Zulu tribe only, but actually he was spreading wings. You would hear that millionaires are coming from Manica land, be it Midlands, being it Marsh West, Marsh East, all those areas. But now everything is just happening within the clique of Gananda, whereby you see Owen Muda and the crew from Midlands. These are the people that are running Zimbabwe now like a private country. So people don't want this. People are hungry for another leader. People have realized that when it comes to Zimbabwe, it's not only ZANU-PF that is what the formula, but we need a consultative approach which is inclusive of everyone, be it from the opposition side. Everyone must come to the table. Everyone must contribute their influence, their ideas, so that Zimbabwe moves forward. And just to mention a few, just to give a practical example, let's look at a person like Fadzai Mahere. Fadzai Mahere has been working and giving ideas, raising important questions, which show pointers that if the government was really serious, if they were to address those issues, Zimbabwe will be at a better position. So the Zimbabweans are hungry for a leader that has got an inclusive approach, who is going to invite everyone on the table, so that at least these sharp, great minds work towards building Zimbabwe to be a great nation. So people are sick and tired of Emmerson Mnangagwa. Unfortunately, it's a system, it's a government that abuses people, that suffocates democracy, whereby people are not really free to express themselves. And just so you can see, they even hunted Nyoka Yamabunu here in South Africa, and now is in prison. Everyone who stands out to be the voice of reason, to bring the government to account on the expected behavior and what they need to do, that person is either arrested or that person suddenly disappeared. So people are scared, people are afraid. But in all that disagreement, that disgruntlement, the prayer is, we want a better leader. We want another leader who's not Emmerson Mnangagwa, who will address the concerns from the people.
Okay, very powerful, and I think it's very clear. So, is Chiwenga doing enough? I think that's the last question. Is he doing enough to become a president?
He is doing enough. He is doing enough. It's not easy to speak against a person like Wicknell Chivayo. What people need to understand is Wicknell Chivayo already is a billionaire. These are people who've been stealing from the country during the times of former President Robert Mugabe. One of the reasons that pushed the impeachment of Robert Mugabe, I still remember when Mrs. Muchanga was speaking at HICC there in Zimbabwe. One of the reasons that was raised was the corruption of Wicknell Chivayo, and she specifically mentioned the issue of the Gwanda solar project. That corruption has reached alarming levels. So when we are dealing with the Wicknell Chivayo, he's got too much money. And we saw the president at State House when journalists were invited over to come there and have a discussion with the president. One of the journalists actually raised a question asking and inquiring on the relationship between the president, Wicknell Chivayo, and how he's spending his money. And the president came out strong in defense of Wicknell Chivayo. I'm sure Zimbabweans have seen a picture whereby Wicknell Chivayo, the president's sons with the president, they would appear sitting happy, having a good time. So speaking against a person like Wicknell Chivayo is a direct attack to President Mnangagwa, because everyone knows who is behind Wicknell Chivayo, who has managed to keep Wicknell Chivayo out of the courts, out of prison for all of this time. So him speaking out against corruption, he's speaking out against people like Udakwa Chitagwire, Wicknell Chivayo, Tungwararo, and these people, the principle of all the activities these people are engaging in is none other than President Emerson Mnangagwa. So this is a strong sign of courage. This is a strong sign of showing solidarity, or rather standing with the people, that we know whatever that you're going through. And the reason why our hospitals are a mess, our road infrastructure is terrible, there's unemployment, it's because of these people whose money is not traceable. And he wants to fix that problem. He wants to fix that crisis and make sure he brings Zimbabwe to a better place whereby there's employment, the healthcare system is back on track again. So General Chiwenga is trying, is really speaking out. People need to understand something. He still remains the vice president of Emerson Mnangagwa, and he's never going to handle the issue like a Zim Danso cup clash, whereby the language is goes beyond moral words. So he still has to speak with respect, because we can't take it away from him. He's still the president of the country, and everyone in the country is learning from his style of leadership. And whatever disagreements that are there, people still need to be respectful of each other. So I feel he's really trying. And also, just look at the engagement which is making, the discussions that is having with investors from other countries. You can actually see that the country is headed towards a better direction.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Traore. I really enjoy talking to you. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
I just want to appeal to Zimbabweans that let's pray for Comrade Nyoka Yamabunu. Let's keep on contributing. Things are not really okay. He was supposed to have his asylum, to go for the interview for the asylum application, but due to funds, they were not really funds that were mobilized. So that has become a huge setback. And it will be good that in this revolution, everyone deserves to have their freedom. Let's fight for the man. He used to lead a group that had 300,000 people, and we would expect that the same rallying behind, the same support that we're giving him then, we must still continue to give him that support now, so that at least our brother can get his freedom. And people must not get tired. Yes, I feel where people are coming from, that it looks as if this thing is dragging for too long. But I always say this is not something simple, like removing a pastor from AFM church or Wapusa church. We are dealing with systems, and everyone knows how ruthless this system is. We want everyone to stay alive. Everyone. We don't want anything bad to happen to anyone, so that when the right Zimbabwe gains its freedom, we will still have everyone alive, so that people can get to enjoy the benefits of the liberation struggle. So with this, I say thank you.
Yeah, Comrade Traore, I just wanted to mention to you that I spent about an hour talking to the lawyers.
Wonderful.
And unfortunately, I believe that the problem is not only with the legal system of South Africa, it is also the strategy being implemented. So we may need to look at the strategy there that the lawyers are adopting. Because in terms of asylum, we had a discussion with the previous lawyer, Machingura, and he was of a different opinion from what strategy these guys are following. So if you are able to get hold of him, he will be able to explain to you why the strategy that is being followed may not be correct. Because when I was present in the team, I would give them direction on what to do. At the moment, there's no one giving the lawyers direction. So they're just going as they wish. So, for example, I would say to them, we're not going to High Court. We are staying at Magistrates Court. I would say to them, you must file a response. You cannot wait. At the moment, there's no one taking that role. And the money that you're talking about is wanted at the High Court, not at the Magistrate Court. So that is not entirely true that they need money for the application. They don't need money for him to go to asylum. They want money to go to the High Court. So this is something that I told them that they shouldn't do. So I think we need to now get someone to strategically guide the lawyers, because there might be a problem there, and Nyoka might end up being extradited.
That's where my fear is also. That's where my fear is. Just because that application was actually going to save us, so that at least he's not sent back to Zimbabwe. But since he didn't go now, it means that's one option which is now back on the table, and it's difficult to stop it now because we had more than enough time to pursue that application process, so that at least we safeguard our brother from going back to Zimbabwe. So we're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and that's why I say to you, Nyoka Yamabuni himself is very dejected. His morale is very, very low, and something needs to be urgently done. This is why I was saying we need to put our heads together so that at least we find a way forward. And I would be happy if you get back on the rail, so that at least we try and assist our brother. Because how is it possible that someone is called and people call him and say, what's the update with the court case? And he says, I'm driving from Swaziland, as if we didn't know there was a court case for Nyoka Yamabuni on such a date. So would need someone who is hands-on, someone who is a fast thinker, someone who understands these court processes, so that at least we don't find ourselves wanting eventually, that regretting that we're supposed to have done this, but unfortunately we've been overtaken by events. So this is my request, that it would be good if you could come back on board. We discuss with the lawyers, at least so that they stand guided.
Yeah, I think also the issue of lies, our people have been lying to Nyoka, so he's got so much false information right now that has been told in Fed. And we need to make sure that we correct the narratives. And unfortunately, if he gets deported to Zimbabwe, because what they're going to do, they might even release him and then deport him to Zimbabwe as soon as he walks out of court. That's a possibility.
Yes, that's
So-
a huge possibility.
Yes, because it does not have papers, like you're saying. So I'm just looking for maybe a round table discussion. We get everyone around the table. I've been asking for this for a long time, where we get everyone around the table, especially people like General Stole, people like the other media houses. They are misleading him to think that someone stole 100,000 or someone stole money and put it in their own pocket. What they don't realize, they're actually putting him in danger by those lies. And also the lawyers, when we hired the lawyers, I am the one who personally hired those lawyers. We had agreed that the money that we paid them was all. There will be no other money that will be paid. And that seems to have been changed, so that now they're demanding more and more monies and raising more invoices.
That's where the problem is. I think the mistake which my brother did, I don't know whether to call it a mistake or these are situational things. When you're under pressure, sometimes you end up making decisions which are quite wrong. And my brother was consulting too much. And in the process, people just realized that loophole and started to tell him that which he wanted to hear, so that at least they would take advantage of him, which has led us to this predicament, of which that's a narrative that has to be fixed. I will try and talk to him, so that on whatever plan that will come up with, we stick to that plan, no matter what he hears. At least let's just give it time and see if it's going to yield results. Then if it doesn't, then we resort to another opinion, maybe which would have arisen from his side. That will help us. Because if we constantly change posts, we try this, we change posts again, we do this, I don't think it's good for us. Because also our lawyers are capitalizing on this exchange of power. That this one comes into the picture, meaning to say that the new arrangement, obviously, lawyers are there to make money. Whatever arrangement that was made prior to this new arrangement obviously becomes null and void. They will ask for more money from these people. And that is why you're seeing that the lawyers are not attending anymore. One of the lawyers actually didn't show up at court, and there was only one. And looking at Nyoka during that court session, you could see that things are not well with him. He's not really in a good space.
Okay, that is great, Comrade Traore, and thank you very much for so much concern you're showing for both sides. You're not partial at all. and people love you from both sides. Is there
Thank
anything
you.
else? I've already asked you. Maybe let us bring this to an end, and we'll come back again next week.
Yes, thank you so much, my brother, Mr. Gambakwe. General Chiwenga is the real deal. I've got so much trust in him. I've got so much hope in him. He will usher in a new kind of politics that all of Zimbabweans are going to be proud of. Unfortunately, because of the mistake which was made in 2017, it's going to be quite difficult to try and convince people, to try and make people see that other good side of General Chiwenga, because people would assume that he's the one who put Emerson Mnangagwa in office. So it's been a huge setback for us. But I always say everything happens for a reason. Had it not been for that, no one would now be thinking of consultative politics, whereby whoever, regardless of political affiliation, we tolerate each other. But that's the new language now that we need to work together as Zimbabweans. It's because no one is able to build this country alone. All of us, we need each other.
Thank you very much, Comrade Traore, and see you again next week.
Thank you so much. Good day.